Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's masterclass. This masterclass is all about how to prepare for a job interview. So the purpose today is really to give you all the keys that you need to prepare and manage your interview. And today we are here with Nilam and Michael, who are talent acquisition partners at the company ADM. They are going to give you all the secrets to succeed in your interview. So hi Nilam, hi Michael, how are you doing today?
Hi, hello
Hi,
everyone.
very
All
well,
good?
thank you.
Welcome to you too, and we are very glad to have you with us today to give all the advice that you might have to the students. The goal is really to answer all the questions that the students attending might have, give advice, give some tips, give some practical examples regarding job interviews. So what we'll do today is that we'll address these topics in a chronological order. How do you prepare for the interview? How do you get ready just before the interview? How do you behave during the interview? And also, what should you do after the interview? But before we really hit these topics, I have got some instructions for all the students attending. Just so you know, there will be time for your questions at the end, and I would like to ask you to put your questions not in the chat, please, but if you can put them in the questions tab. You have a questions tab normally on the right hand side below on your screen. And why is that important? It gives you a possibility to like each other's questions, which means that at the end of the sessions, the most liked questions will appear at the top of the list, and we will start off those. So please put your questions in the question tab. I will handle them at the end. I would also like you to know that if you have to leave, if you have a class, if you need to have a quick lunch, don't worry. If you have to go, you will receive the replay of the session by email. So today you should receive an email with a link to the recording of today's session. And last but not least, I think we have quite a lot of nationalities with us today because this is a European masterclass. And just so you know, the advice that you will hear today is really general. It's not adapted to your specific market. It's really general European advice, I would say. So now that you know all this, we can start, and I would like to ask Nilam and Michael a few questions about yourself. Could you tell us something about your professional and academic background, starting with Nilam, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. I'm Neela McCulloch. I am the talent acquisition specialist here at ADM, specialising in human nutrition across the EMEA. I've been with ADM now for a year. And yes, I'm currently located in the UK. And the talent acquisition team there's about 16 of us on the team all across Europe. But before joining ADM, I was a recruiter in life science for 5 years. So I have many years of experience in recruitment. And before that, I was doing something completely different. I was doing performing arts. And I also, in my spare time, I'm an artist as well. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself.
Wow, thank you very much for that, Nilam. What about you, Michael?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. My name is Mihail Burdushel. I am based in Romania currently. As Neelam, I am a recruiter for ADM for the Agricultural Services and Oilseeds Division. I can say that I have worked as a recruiter in both food production companies and FMCG. I have a bachelor's degree in commerce and a master's degree in business administration. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here with you and to provide some precious insights, I would say, of how to master, future interviews and how to do it in the best manner possible.
Great. Well, thanks to both of you for being with us today. This is all very interesting for our students. So with all this experience you have, you will really share the keys with us to manage an interview in the best possible ways. And obviously, the very first thing when it comes to job interview, the most really the most important thing is to be ready, to be prepared for it. But how would you say that you best prepare for an interview? Could you define different steps that should be taken to really prepare the interview in the best possible way?
Yes, sure. So I would say I break it down into 3 different sections. So firstly is the how. I would say how you come across first is very important, because that's the first time that the employee is meeting you. I would say to come across positive, communicate with good tone and good body language. This really does make a difference. Next, I would say is the why. So personal insight about yourself, your character, your background, how people would describe you. And thirdly, I would say is the what. It's fine to be nervous. Everyone's nervous, whether it's your first interview, whether it's your 5th job. Everybody always gets nervous on interviews. It's completely normal. The employee is aware that everybody will be nervous. However, it's always good to have open questions and engage with the interviewee. I would also say 2 more important things is researching the company that you're interviewing for. And I would look at who's interviewing you, and I would go onto LinkedIn and look at their background.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And if we linger a bit on the research part, the fact that you research the company and the person interviewing you, I understand that it's really important to gather a maximum amount of information on the job description, the company, to make sure that you really get ready for any questions that are asked during the job interview. So, Michael, maybe you could elaborate a bit on that, the fact that you need to gather information.
Sure, Rosa. So to gather the maximum information on the job description and of course the company that you are applying to, I can give you some steps that you can take to ensure that you as a candidate, of course, are well prepared for any questions asked on these topics. So I think that everybody should thoroughly review the job description. So you need to pay close attention to the required qualifications, skills, responsibilities listed in the job description. So also it's important to take note of any specific keywords or phrases that usually stand out in this job description. Secondly, I would say, as Neelam described it before, research the company. It's very important to visit the companies, maybe official website, explore their About You section, their mission statement, values, I don't know, any recent news or updates. Another thing that I would actually do is look for information of their products or services and the company culture. And also check if the company has a presence on social media platforms like LinkedIn, like Facebook, Twitter, as these platforms, of course, can provide insights into their activities and, recent developments. Read company reviews and employee testimonials. Very important. Look for reviews, or as I said, testimonials from current or former employees on websites like Glassdoor or LinkedIn, because these platforms usually offer insights into the company's work environment, their management style, or their employee experiences. So what else you can do? Utilize your network or reach out to your professional network, including connections on LinkedIn or colleagues who may have knowledge or experience with this company, because they always can provide valuable insights or information about the company, work environment, or recent developments. If there are any company events or webinars, you might as well are welcome to join these webinars or virtual events, because they always give you a lot of information in these sessions. So last but not the least, I would say prepare questions. So based on your research, it's very, very important to formulate thoughtful questions about the company's culture, their values, their team dynamics, or any recent projects that these companies or initiative that these companies might be working on. So I would say by following these steps with the job description, you can gather comprehensive information about it and about the company. It will enable you to prepare effectively, and any questions during the interview that are asked, you can be, of course, prepared and demonstrate motivation and interest.
Of course. No, thank you. Thank you very much, Michael, for this extensive answer. It shows that you are curious, that you are well informed and motivated, like you say. So perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thinking about something completely different, when you go to a job interview, you are more or less, well, you're supposed to pitch yourself. And in this context, we often talk about the famous elevator pitch. So my question to you is, could you please explain to us what it is really, and what the purpose of an elevator pitch is?
So an elevator pitch usually refers to a concise and compelling summary of who you are, what you do, and of course the value that you can bring to a company or organization. So it's called an elevator pitch because it's meant to be delivered within the span of an elevator ride, like typically lasting around, let's say 30 seconds up to 2 minutes. So the purpose of this elevator pitch, as you call it in an interview, is to quickly and effectively communicate your skills, your qualifications, your unique selling points to the interviewer. So I think an elevator pitch should be tailored to the specific job and company you are interviewing for. So in this way, it should showcase your professional background, your key skills, your accomplishments, let's say, with the requirements of the position. So crafting an effective elevator pitch also involves practicing. And I think refining your message to ensure it's clear, concise, impactful. Why not? Again, very important, it should be memorable. And why is that? Because you need to leave a positive impression to the interviewer, and making them interested in learning more about you and your qualifications.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, very, very good idea to practice. I should have done that myself in the past. So you can say, to sum it up a bit, that an elevator pitch is really a way to answer the question, tell us more about yourself, the classic one.
So the tell us more about yourself in an interview. Let's give also an example, because we need to be concrete to this. So I would say I would have a role like a commodity trader role, a role that I usually recruit for here in ADM. So let's have an example. So it's crucial to highlight your relevant experience, skills, accomplishments, of course, in the commodities market, if you are a commodity trader. So I would begin with a personal introduction, my name is, let's say, John Brown. I have been working in the financial industry for the past 7 years, specializing in commodity trading and risk management. After that, emphasize the experience you have in commodity trading. So you can say, throughout my career, I have gained extensive experience in trading soft commodities. You can give also some examples, including rapeseed, corn. I have developed a deep understanding of the supply and demand dynamics, market fundamentals. What else? Geopolitical factors that usually impact these commodity prices. What is, again, crucial when the question asked, tell us about yourself, is to showcase your track record of success. I would say like this. So in my previous role as a commodity trader at, company X, I consistently delivered strong performance, achieving average annual return, 15% across commodity portfolio. I have a proven track record of identifying profitable trading opportunities, mitigating risk, optimizing trading strategy to maximize returns. In my opinion, this is a very successful pitch. Again, also what to do is to highlight your skills and strengths as a commodity trader in our example here. So I would say, if I were a commodity trader, that I possess strong analytical skills. These skills enable me to assess market trends, to evaluate supply and demand imbalances, to take and to make data-driven trading decisions. Finally, what's important is to connect your experience to the role that you're applying for. So I'm a commodity trader, and I'm telling the interviewer, I'm very excited about the opportunity to join your commodity trading team, of course, and contribute my expertise to your company's success. You can also say that I am particularly drawn to your firm's reputation for innovation, risk management in commodity trading, or as in ADM's case, in sustainability, because we have lots of projects in sustainability. And in the end, you can say, I believe my knowledge, my experience would be a valuable asset in capturing opportunities, and driving profitability, because this is what it's about. So remember to keep your answers concise and focused, I would say.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I would maybe, by listening to you, add concrete, because really the pitch you just gave us is very much concrete. This is what I have done. These are my skills. This is how I use my skills in my daily work. So very, very hands-on, I would say. Very, very useful. Thank you. And this is in the case when you already have a first working experience, of course. But let's say that we are in the opposite situation. That is, it's my first job, in fact, or my first internship. So what if this is my first application? In that case, I cannot create such a pitch about my working experience. What should I do? Maybe Neelam, you'd care to elaborate?
Yeah, sure. So in this sort of situation where it's your first time applying for a job, it's going to be mainly around soft skills. So I would definitely suggest having a cover letter, because employees will be looking for a cover letter. In the cover letter, you can put stuff about what your interests are, what your hobbies are. You can also put in there why you're applying for the job, why you would think that you would be a good asset to the company as well. I would also mention in there, if you've got any sort of outside of school sports clubs or any of those sort of activities, I would get referrals from your teachers as a good reference. I think that's a good way. And also I would speak about any challenges that you may have had and overcome, whether it's in a school project that you've worked on before, or maybe even a friendship group project that you've worked on. I would put how you've overcome it and achieved it.
Thank you. This is all very important, because it really highlights how soft skills also define you as a person and what you can bring to a company. So very important not to forget those, and all the extracurricular activities, of course, such as just described by Neelam. If we talk a little bit about the job interview in itself, well, I think we can all agree that there are many different ways today to interview candidates. And could you tell us a bit more about the different options that you can come across as to the form of the job interview?
Yeah, of course. So obviously we are now in a modern day where everybody tends to do Teams interviews, especially if you're working across the EMEA as well. So the first stage is normally on Teams with the hiring manager and maybe somebody from HR. So you'll always be with somebody else on the call, 2 people. Then if that's successful, you would go into a second stage interview and you would probably meet 2 different managers. It may look more like a panel interview. And then I would say, if it's a face-to-face interview, they will tend to take you around the office. You'll meet the team. They'll show you around. And that's normally how the interviews tend to go. It's normally a 2 to 3 stage interview.
Okay. Thank you. Very, very much. Good to know. And if we have a closer look at the online interviews, since we do a lot of those today, what would be your best advice to get ready for an online interview?
Yeah, so I think to manage an online interview nowadays require, of course, some preparation and some consideration. Some tips that could help you get ready and make a positive impression for an online interview, of course, firstly would be to test your technology to make sure that your internet connections, your webcam, your microphone are working properly. Then I would say also choose a suitable location, like find a quiet space for the interview. Ensure that the background, of course, is professional, is free from distractions. It's important to consider like a neutral virtual background and also make sure that the lighting is sufficient so it allows the interviewer to see you clearly. Again, what you should do in an online interview is to dress properly, of course, and professionally. I would dress like I would do it for a face-to-face interview. So even if you're at home, dressing professionally shows your professionalism, of course, and dedication to the process. I think dressing appropriately also can help everybody feel more confident and more prepared. This is my opinion. Yeah. Also, it's important to prepare your materials, like have a copy of your CV or resume, the job description, any notes or questions you want to reference during the interview. So it's important also to keep these documents organized. Practice also your responses, like prepare for common interview questions and practice these responses. Consider also recording yourself because it enables you to evaluate like your body language, your tone, your clarity. And of course, if you are prepared, you will feel more confident and you can articulate better during the actual interview. Minimize distractions, like inform everybody in the household about you having an interview. Ask them to avoid interrupting you, silence or turn off your phone or notifications. Also, it's important to be mindful of your body language, like sit up straight, maintain good posture, use neutral gestures, of course, to convey your interest and enthusiasm. Yeah, listen also carefully and speak clearly. So pay close attention to the questions asked and listen actively to the interviewer. Usually I take time before responding to questions. I try to speak clearly to avoid interrupting. So yeah, it's online, but if there are any connectivity issues, of course, politely ask for a clarification if you couldn't hear very well or it was interrupted, like for the interview to repeat the question. The least I would say follow up and express gratitude. So after the interview, it's very nice to send a thank you email to the interviewers to express your appreciation of their time, of course. And why not? It's another chance to reiterate your interest in the position. So online interviews can feel different from face-to-face interviews, obviously, but it's very essential, I say, to adapt and to prepare accordingly. So practice, stay focused, and showcase your skills and qualifications confidently.
Thank you. Preparation is the key here. I can hear. If we jump to another subject, something that you can expect for a job interview, it's quite often requested to prepare a case study or to do a case study during the interview. Do you have any specific advice on that topic?
Yes. So a case study, that's most interviews do ask you for case studies. This is normally for an interviewee and the employer to see whether that the person has the capability of how they represent themselves, how they're going to represent the company. So what would normally happen is they would give you a subject matter for maybe, and you'd have about a week to prepare for it normally. And the case study should only last 15 minutes, but they will always tell you how long they want it to last. And after the 15 minutes, you've done the case study, you've done the research, then there'll be about 45 minutes of questioning around the project that you've done. But I think it is a really good opportunity for you to present yourself and show your confidence to the team. So it's a good thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Let's say that I'm now at the next step. I have done my research. I have worked on the interview. Maybe I have even prepared my case study. Can you tell me what are the most commonly asked questions during the interview that we can prepare beforehand, like you have already mentioned, like what are our qualities and defaults, or the question, why should you hire me and not somebody else? Could you tell us more about the really kind of standard questions that you can almost expect, almost always?
Yeah, it's kind of my favorite topic to guess ahead what they will ask you, but I can tell you I'm very, very sure about that these questions are asked about the biggest majority of recruiters, like why are you interested in this position? Why are you interested in this company? So please research the company thoroughly to understand the mission, the values, the culture, as I said, and always align your response with how, let's say, your skills and career goals align to the company. This would be like a good answer. Another question 100% that pops up in the interviews is what are your strengths and weaknesses? I'm so sure everybody's watching right now that had at least one interview that they had this question. So you should identify your key strengths that are relevant to the position, first of all, and provide examples of how you have demonstrated them. For the weaknesses, yeah, this is tricky, but choose something minor and also explain how you have worked to improve it. Another question could be, tell me about a challenge related to this one. Tell me about a challenge that you faced and how you have overcame it. So it's important to prepare a specific example that demonstrates, of course, your problem-solving skills, because this is what the recruiters is looking for. Of course, your resilience, your ability to handle the pressure. So you can explain here the steps you took to overcome the challenge and, of course, the positive outcome of this. Other questions could be like, describe a time when you worked successfully in a team. So prepare an example that showcases your collaboration, your communication, teamwork skills. This is what this question is about. So you highlight your role in achieving a common goal and how you, of course, contributed to the team's success. And as you said, Osa, the question, why should we hire you? So yeah, it's very, very important that we are prepared. So highlight, in my opinion, your unique qualifications, experiences, the skills that make you a strong fit for the role. So yeah, I guess this response can be very well prepared ahead. Last question could be, what are your, and I always ask this question, what are your long-term career expectations? Because I want the candidate to show me his ambition. I want the candidate to demonstrate that he has thought about his career path, how it aligns with my company's goals. So I'm also looking for him to be realistic, to be specific about his future aspirations. So I think to prepare for these questions, it's important to practice. And you can also conduct mock interviews with a friend or with a mentor, somebody else. And yeah, be confident, authentic, enthusiastic in your responses.
Okay. Thank you. So once again, prepare and practice. Very important. I can see that time is flying here. So we have now covered the preparation of the interview, and we will move on to really the almost physical preparation to get ready for the interview. We need to get set, we need to go there. How do you choose what you should wear, how you should look, and so forth? Neelam, do you have any advice on that?
Yes. So I always say overdress rather than underdress is always the key. I mean, for example, Mihail is dressed very nicely today. So this is a great example of somebody going to an interview, especially in a corporate environment, because the managers will look at you as how you're dressed and how you come across, because you're representing the company at the end of the day. So I would use it as a time to brand yourself. In terms of for men, I would say smart trousers, a shirt and a tie, a blazer as well. For women, I would say a shirt, as a skirt as well, or trousers is fine, just to look smart, basically. And I would say it depends on the company. So for example, if you are going to a tech company and you're applying for a tech position, some companies do tend to not be dressed so formal. So unless they have told you when you have an interview, you don't need to dress formal, then I would always overdress rather than underdress. But if they do tell you, don't worry, we're very casual here, please come to the interview casual, then I would follow that advice from the company.
Okay, thank you very much. That's all very good advice, and we'll all follow Michael's example, of course. And interesting also to know that it can depend on the sectors as well, what you should do. Let's say that you are now all set, you are prepared, you have practiced, you are dressed as you should be, you are now about to be interviewed, and then you get stressed. So the question here is, how do we manage that kind of stress? Do you have any tips about exercises that you can do to calm down and to concentrate just before the interview and during the interview as well?
Yeah, I think everybody can feel a little bit stressed. Doesn't matter of the seniority of the position, but there's always some tips and tricks to avoid that. Like take deep breathing, like take slow deep breaths, inhale, exhale. Usually this helps activate the body's relaxations response and usually reduces stress. Muscle relaxation, like start from your toes and work your way up, tensing and then relaxing each muscle in your body also helps release tension and promotes overall relaxation. Another tip I would say is visualization, like close your eyes and imagine yourself in a successful interview. Like visualize yourself confidently answering these questions and leave like a positive impression. What I do usually is positive self-talk. So I replace negative thoughts with positive affirmation. I remind myself of my strengths, of my skills, of my past accomplishments, and that usually boosts my confidence. Of course, there are other tips you can check out online, like guided meditation, physical exercise, listening to calming music. I think a lot of people do that, like they play soft soothing music that helps you relax and clears your mind. Speaking of mind, I think also it's important to practice mindfulness, like focus on the present moment, pay attention to your thoughts, to your sensations without any judgment, of course, because this can help reduce anxiety and improve concentration. So it's important to find out what works best for you. So you should experiment with different techniques and exercises, but you should see which one helps you relax and calm you down before these interviews.
Yes, of course. Try it out a bit, the different techniques. Okay, great. Thank you. Another question, when the interview is finished, usually, the candidate gets the question, do you have any questions? We have touched about this already a bit. We talked about it as to the preparation of the interview, what kind of questions you can prepare beforehand, but it could be useful to sum it up a bit for the students attending. Is there
Yes.
any question you should avoid?
Of course. Let me begin with the questions that are important to ask. I would say the questions that shows your interest in the position and helps you gather more information about the company you're applying for. So some types of questions that candidate can ask are, first, I would say career development opportunities. You should ask about growth opportunities within the company, such as, I don't know, training programs, mentorships. Why not advancements, possibilities? The company's future plans and goals are also good to ask questions to see the company's vision, to see the company's upcoming projects. Again, team and collaboration, like inquire about the team structure, how teams collaborate, and the communication channels you are using within the company. And yeah, of course, if the recruiter doesn't specifically say it, you should ask what are the next steps in the hiring process. So you need to seek clarification for the next steps, timeline, or any additional information that the interviewer might need from you. And as you said, Osa, while it's important to have questions, there are some certainly types of questions to avoid. I usually don't like to hear negative or critical questions. Like, if you're a candidate, avoid asking overly negative or critical questions about the company's leadership, I don't know, its practices, because you need to maintain a positive and professional tone throughout. Another question or questions that have already been answered. So make sure to listen carefully during the interview to avoid these questions that you already have been covered. So asking relevant questions demonstrates, of course, the engagement and the interest in the role in the company. So yes, ask questions.
Okay, great. There's one question that is a bit difficult though, and that is the one concerning the salary. That's always a bit touchy, and at the same time, it's very, very important. So what should you do about that as a candidate? Should you ask?
Personally, I think it's very, very important to ask about salary from the start, because what you don't want to do is go through a whole process and then at the end of the process, the salaries don't align, and it's a waste of time for the candidate side and a waste of time for the employee side as well. So I definitely think there is a way about going about it so you don't look like you're just looking for the higher salary in a company. But you could always just say, this is my salary expectation. Is this something that you can match? And you can always say to the recruiter, look, this is what I would like to get, but I am flexible. And also say that, I'm not here just for the money, but everybody just needs to be on the same page. I think it's very important.
Yeah, indeed. Very important. Thanks a lot for that answer, Nilam. We are now by the end of the interview process. We have also talked about the salary. What should you do as a candidate to make a difference, to stand out? Should I send a message after the interview? And when, in that case, should I send it to get some feedback and just to be sure that I'm not completely forgotten afterwards?
Yeah, very good question, Osa. So to stand out, first of all, and ensure that you're not forgotten, right? As a first step, express gratitude. I mean, thank the interviewer for their time and the opportunity to interview you for this position. Show genuine appreciation for the chance to discuss your qualifications. Also, it's important to summarize the key points. Ask about the next steps. What are the next steps? What the candidate can expect, or when the candidate can expect to hear back from you. As I said, it shows interest and eagerness to move forward. Request, I would say, contact information if you don't already have it. And as you said, regarding sending a message after the interview is generally recommended, because sending a personalized thank you email, like within, I would say, 24 to 48 hours is very important, because it serves, I would say, multiple purposes. It firstly expresses gratitude, it reiterates your interest, and also you can address any additional points. Like if there were any topics or questions, you can have this in this email that you send after. So also request feedback politely. It's important to politely request feedback about the timeline for their decision-making process. Of course, it shows, again, commitment to self-improvement and your interest in the role. So keep the email concise, very important, professional, error-free, I would say. It's also good to personalize it based on your conversation during the interview. So remember to proofread before sending. So it keeps you under the interviewer's radar, I would say, and can leave a positive impression in the end.
Of course, good to know. Thank you. And let's say that I have done my interview, I have sent my follow-up, it has all gone very well, but well, I'm not convinced. The company wants to hire me, but for some reason I am going to let down the offer. What is the best way to do that? What is the best approach here to refuse an offer?
So I would, there's two ways about it really. It's if you have multiple interviews happening, I would always make sure that the recruiter, even the employee, are aware that you are interviewing at different companies, just so it's not a shock to them that why you may not want to take the role, because you may have a better opportunity somewhere else. So I would always make sure that I've told them I am interviewing at other places. I would send an email, just, thanking the employee for their time that they've spent, how you've enjoyed the process, how it's just not the right time for you, whether it's you've got another opportunity that suits your background better. I would explain to them why you're not taking the role, but I would always leave a good impression, because you don't know in the future whether they may be another job that comes up, or a hiring manager may know somebody else from a different company. So I would always keep it on good terms.
Okay, thank you. Very, very good to know. These are really amazing keys, excellent tools to help us all with a job interview. Before we move on to the students' questions, do you have any last tips to share? Like if you have one really crucial tip or one very important piece of advice?
Be yourself. Be yourself. This is I would say there are three things, like show enthusiasm, positivity, and professionalism. So these three are the main things that are very, very important.
Okay, good. Thank you. Very good to know. What I suggest is that we move on to the students' questions. We have a bit of time for those, which is really great. And I now have the most liked questions at the top of the list. One is coming from Ulsan, and he wants to know how to answer the question, what are your salary expectations? Nilam, I think you touched upon it already a bit. Do you have anything to add on that one?
Salary expectations is, I would, if you're going to be speaking to a recruiter, I would ask the recruiter. It's a lot easier than asking the employee, because sometimes it is a bit awkward to ask a hiring manager. They don't actually know sometimes, because that's more done with HR when it comes to salary. So they don't like to discuss salaries. So if you are working with a recruiter, I would say to them, what is the salary range? They will give you a range between, and if it's way less than what you're looking for, then at least it's out in the open, and then you can make the decision on whether this is the right opportunity for you or not.
Yeah, Perfect. I understand. And let's say it's the other way around. The manager, the hiring person is asking you as a candidate, what is your expectation? You said earlier that you can indicate a range, but still say that I am flexible, not to shut yourself in a corner.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be the best. If the hiring manager asks you, just say, this is my salary range that I'm looking for, but obviously I'm happy to negotiate.
Okay, great. Perfect. Very, very concrete advice. Good to know. We have another question that we have already touched upon a bit. I think it was you, Michael. How do you answer the question, what are your weak sides? And if I remember correctly, you said not to choose the most important ones, right? Yes, do you care to elaborate a bit on that one?
So it's important also to say or to state your weaknesses. Nobody's perfect, nobody's Superman, right? So everybody has weaknesses, but I wouldn't emphasize at all in the interview that I'm there to promote myself. I cannot promote myself telling the interviewer what were my biggest mistakes in my previous company. So choose something minor, as I said. Choose something minor, but choose something. And again, don't elaborate too much for the mistake, but elaborate more how you overcame it, how you solved it, and what were your ideas to solve it in a proper manner. Because all of us are working, all of us face different issues in our daily activity.
Of course, and the first step is already to be aware of your flaws before starting to work on them. So good to know. Thank you. We have one question from Juin. Can we also talk about interviewing for internships? A follow-up question to that one is, would you say that there is a difference between a job interview and an internship interview?
I think I can answer to that, because I'm interviewing for lots of internships, traineeships, and I think I consider them equally important. So for me, it doesn't matter if I'm recruiting for a very, very senior or manager role, or if I'm recruiting a young, talented professional that is about to work on his career progress. I usually find these internships or traineeships more difficult to process, because I, as a recruiter, I need to provide or to make the candidate feel very safe, feel very comfortable. Because okay, if you're a senior or applying for a senior role, you already know, you have your speech, you are not afraid of anything, you just stand out and discuss. But if you're a future professional, you might be stuck in some details. So it's very important to treat every single interview in a professional manner, and I don't do any, of course, not any difference between them.
Okay, very, very good to know also. We have a question from Wenhui that is already partially answered. How do you make a good self-introduction in the interview? Could you elaborate with 2 examples, one good introduction, one that is not expected? And I think that we have already had the good elevator pitch, so to speak, the John Ford example. But maybe do you have an example of a bad self-introduction, that is, what shouldn't you do when you do the elevator pitch? Something to think about.
I can also answer to this, because I was recruiting a lot of candidates, and of course not all interviews go great. So in my opinion, rather than to give you like an example of how you could do bad in an interview, I would say firstly, when you don't show any motivation, you just had the interview like you were obliged to do it. You are there, you don't care too much, you are distracted, you are looking on the window. I had a candidate, he was literally talking to me and looking on the window. he was not very interested in our discussion. So I would say, yeah, this is a pretty bad example of how you should treat your future, right? It's your future career. It also involves your future.
We have a similar question from Katarina. What is something that many candidates say that doesn't leave a good impression on recruiters?
I can answer that one. I think from my experience, when a candidate comes across too keen, that is a little bit of shows a bit of a red flag, just in terms of if they are, if they say this is their dream job, it's the end and all. When candidates come across in that way, it kind of makes me feel like they've not had that much time to really know what they want. So it can be a bit off-putting. So I would just obviously be confident in yourself, but don't be focused just on like this is the end and all type of role, because it does come across a bit like, oh wow, okay, maybe no. That's my personal one, but yeah.
Good to know. Thank you. And I think we have another question for you, Nilam, because you mentioned the motivation letter in the beginning, and Abel wants to know what should be covered in a motivation letter. How do you make a motivation letter stand out from the rest?
So I would say, obviously, research the company. I would talk about any outside. So for an example, if you're going for, I don't know, a marketing position, for example, and you don't have experience in marketing, I would say that you're in my letter, I'd say that I'm very passionate maybe about social media, and I've done some projects before. I'd really like put in the extra work of outside projects that you've done by yourself, and this will show the employee, okay, she's not got experience, but I know that she knows, she's very savvy on social media. And that's just one example, but you just need to think about outside of the box, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may also, I'm also reading the questions here, and I see here a question that is very, very important. So somebody, Marty, I hope I pronounce her name correctly, says, how can you make your CV stand out? I have these questions daily from colleagues, from friends, from people very, very close to myself. I would say a perfect CV, because we are talking to many students right now. I consider a very good CV, maybe if you can, one-pager. So on one page, research the job you're applying for. So if I'm looking, let's say, for a chemical engineer, and you're a chemical engineer, you make sure that you highlight, right? You bold that in the experience part, you are a chemical engineer, because usually recruiters have, I can give you an example of my own. I had 3,000 applicants to the traineeships we are hiring for. So I'm not spending too much time on a CV. I'm looking for keywords. So make it simple. Don't write 17 pages, because nobody in the earth will stay and focus like 20 minutes just on a CV. Make it concise and highlight. Of course, if you look in the job description that they need a chemical engineer with 7 years of experience, please make sure you highlight that you are chemical engineers from 2017 till present, right? So I'm gonna stop there, and the chances of contacting you are very, very high.
Yeah, thank you. That's indeed very, very important. And I'd like to add some information here. If I'm not mistaken, we have had a masterclass on CV, how you really create the best CV. I think we have one in English that was recorded not so long ago. So if you have a particular interest for that subject, really how to make the best CV ever that stands out, like you say, I think you can find the recording of that masterclass in our Job Teaser YouTube channel. I think it's Job Teaser EMEA to elaborate a bit on that subject. And thanks a lot for jumping in, Michael. It's indeed a very important question. And I think we have time maybe for two more questions before we round this up a bit. I have one here from Sherry, which is interesting and important as well. How do you answer a question like, I do not see any activity in this period in your CV. What did you do during this time? How to answer that?
I'm happy to answer that. So, for example, if you have a gap in your CV, I would just be honest and explain to the employee what you were doing, whether it was you were taking time out to figure out what you want to do with your life, or whether, you know, you went traveling. I would always flag up with the employee. And to be honest with you, if the employee doesn't ask, I would go forward and say myself, because that shows the employee, okay, you're not trying to hide anything. So I would say to them, yeah, by the way, just so you know, between this period and this period, I was traveling or I took some time out. That would come across really well.
Okay, great. Honesty always wins.
Yeah.
And one last question here from Sarah, who wonders, how can I handle areas I know I am weaker in? I often see jobs I'm interested in that reference elements of project management, which I don't have experience in. How can I honestly address this but come across positively?
Well, I would say it's important to know what you want from the beginning. So what I would do, honestly, in my opinion, I would just apply for jobs that I know 100% I can be successful in. Because if the time comes and, you know, there are job requirements that you are afraid or you don't have any knowledge, then it's less probable that you will be the successful candidate in the end. So what to do if you really want a job is either prepare yourself and prepare for the worst. So if you are most afraid of some questions, please do some, I don't know, research of those specific areas that you lack information. And you just need to prepare if they ask. If they don't ask, of course, you don't bring it over, because you might have some leaks there, which you don't want to show in an interview. Of course, everything can be learned. Everybody should know that. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has the full knowledge of everything. But, you know, the interviews usually last from, I don't know, 45 minutes to 1 hour, 2 hours. It's kind of a short time. So it's better for you to showcase what you are best at, not what you don't really know how to do it, or you didn't have knowledge or time to elaborate more on those topics. Okay. So it's again how you promote yourself the best in that specific time frame.
Of course, I understand. Perfect. Thank you very much. We have only a few minutes left, and I think that you have some information to share with our students about ADM, because the good news is that you are looking for trainees right now, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true?
We are, yes, we are. And I don't know if everybody heard about Archer Daniels Midland company, which is a huge company, a Fortune 500 listed 15 times in a row in the USA. The company is over 120 years old. Very, very briefly, I'm acting like a sales manager here, but I don't really want to do that. But everybody should know that ADM is a hidden champion, as we call it. And ADM makes approximately 20% of the world's food, which many of you might have not known. Of course, ADM, it's a world leader in soft commodity trading. World leader. So we're talking about a huge company with almost 50,000 employees worldwide. And we are spread with our businesses across 200 countries. Mainly it's worldwide. Coming back to the traineeship programs, if you want to find out more, you can easily access our website, adm.com. You can check myself and Nilam's, and of course any other of our colleagues from talent acquisition for new openings. But we have very interesting, I would say, traineeship programs, European traineeship programs, developed to be on a 2-year basis, and we thought to do it better than other companies. And the traineeship will take place not in just one location, but in 2 European locations. A lot of candidates, young students ask me, okay, but what are these locations? These locations, I can randomly tell you, could be like London, UK, Dublin, Ireland, Madrid, Spain, Rotterdam, Amsterdam in the Netherlands, Mainz, Hamburg, Straubing in Germany, Bavarian region, Rolle, which is between our headquarters in Switzerland, between Lausanne and Geneva. We also have plans in the Czech Republic, in Poland, in Romania, in Bulgaria, in Turkey, and
Everywhere.
everywhere. And these students have the opportunity not just to learn from professionals from one country and one country's culture, they have the opportunity also to travel and meet other and also have other experiences. So our traineeships are designed to have mentors, trainers, coaches, as you want to call them, on-site mentors and online mentors that are 24 hours, Monday to Friday, available to respond to questions. So yeah, we have a dedicated headcount for every single year. This year we are about to open traineeships in commercial traineeship like trading, logistics and execution, finance, operations, which means engineering, sales, marketing. So if you're interested, go out and check our website, and I will be very happy to help you. Again, if you don't know, just connect with me or with Nilam or with any other of my colleagues on LinkedIn and just ask the questions, and we can provide you with every response you need to have.
Excellent. Thank you. So you have a lot of opportunities to explore at ADM. And to finish the session today, I would just like to add one thing for you to know. Like I said, we have a YouTube channel. It's called Job Teaser EMEA. You can find a lot of content in there on our Instagram, the Job Teaser Instagram as well. So if you're interested in this kind of session, meet the expert on different topics, job interview, CV, how to create your own company, topics like that. Don't hesitate to go and have a look. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, of course. And last but not least, huge thank you to Nilam and Michael for all your advice, because I'm sure that it will help all the students a lot that attended today. So thank you very much to you for being with us today.
Thank you also.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. It was good.
We were really glad to have you. And last but not least, again, good luck in your job search to all the students that are attending. Of course, all the best for the future. We hope that you will be able to use all the tips and advice that you have heard today. And we'll see you very soon for the next Job Teaser Masterclass. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.